Umalusi says the Education Department is ready for the 2023 matric exams, and in less than 10 days, thousands of pupils will sit for their final examinations. The department has in the past faced the criticism for the poor matric pass rate, and preparations are already underway to prepare pupils. eNCA reporter Heidi Giokos joins us now for the update. Heidi, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. We were just joking off air that you probably wouldn't even be able to guess when I last matriculated, and the pressure that the matriculants of 2023 are facing. What's happening where you are?
Yes, certainly. And I jokingly responded to you and said, no, you matriculated last year.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We have to keep those memories fresh in our minds. But yes, it's a very big time of the year for matriculants. It's really a defining moment for them. It's quite an important milestone in one's life when they write the exams and obviously getting those results. But there are obviously a lot of challenges that come with that. You know, there are societal pressures. There are issues of load shedding, there are issues of water cuts, and you might think, but how does that actually affect one's ability to study and perform exceptionally in your matric exams? But that all definitely has an impact. And about 2-3 weeks ago, when the Basic Education Department had a briefing, they also indicated that they are picking up a very worrying change of behavior in learners, where learners are starting to have these emotional outbursts. They're starting to become a lot more violent. And we have seen learners also going as far as taking their own lives. So there's a lot of pressure. But the good news, and we always try and find the good news, is that the department here in the province is providing as much support as possible to matric candidates. They are providing these study camps. We are currently in Tshwane, where you have a study camp that started in about September that provides that support to learners to say, you can come to the study camp, all subjects are basically covered. They pick learners that might need extra help, or that might just need an extra push, or those that are really, really battling. So it's an inclusive program that really tries to assist learners in terms of providing that necessary support, and basically, you know, a camp where you can focus on for about a week or two on a number of subjects that you might be struggling with or might just need some extra support. Let's listen to Steve Mabona, who speaks on behalf of the department here in the province.
We are hopeful that this program will assist them. We've been taking different cohorts from different schools in the Tshwane West area, making sure that we support them. We also want to remind them of the number that they need to call. 116 is a child line number if they need assistance there, because this is the time where they will need the assistance. Yes, there have been so many things that have been happening in the country, in our schools, protests, service delivery marches, where some schools were disrupted for different reasons. So you identify where you think that this might have had an impact on them, and bring them on a camp. And it's across the province. It's not only in Tshwane, in all other districts we've been doing this, just to make sure that we give them the support that they need. I mean, they come from different backgrounds. Some, they don't have, the luxury of studying without any disturbances in their households. So you look at that and make sure that we support them. But we are hopeful that this will give us, more in terms of positive results.
Just looking at the support also from parents, caregivers and guardians, and not to necessarily put additional pressure on students, particularly when it comes to those that are struggling with certain subjects.
Yes, and Cindy, I wish I had a study camp like this when I was writing my matric, because no matter what you go through, and I know things have changed dramatically since, but it provides that necessary support that you need, and just to know that you have educators that can support you, that can teach you things, that can help you study in different ways. And I think it's very important, especially because we spoke to 2 learners who told us that their biggest challenge has been, of course, load shedding. And them not being able to study throughout the night, for example, having to study with candles. And, studying is already stressful enough, and you sometimes have to amp yourself up and really motivate yourself to study, especially if it's an all-nighter. And now if you don't have electricity, it's even more challenging. So that was one of the biggest challenges that was highlighted by one of the learners that we spoke to, where she said, she even urges and pleads with government to really relook at the issue around, sorry, the wind is now suddenly picked up. Really relook around the issue of load shedding and consider the fact that this really impacts matriculants. Let's listen to what the learners had to say.
Load shedding is affecting us a lot, too much. I don't want to lie about it, because when it comes to June exam, there was a lot of load shedding. So when we have to study, we studied hard. But what you have to know as a learner, you have to believe to yourself, you're going to make this, and you have to go through what circumstances come between. So you have to believe to yourself, but I don't want to lie. Load shedding affects us a lot. I would like to request that they have to fix these things of load shedding, because it affects us a lot.
And Heidi, I suppose I'm going to speak as a parent of teenage kids, my daughter being in matric as well, that sometimes the expectations that we have also put undue pressure. So if there is, for example, support groups and camps like this, it does assist. But when you see a child struggling, it doesn't help to be ranting and raving and, trying to push them too hard. It does take a community, not only the teachers, to assist them in their studies.
Yes, exactly. I mean, what's the saying? It takes a village, and that is exactly it, is that everybody needs to provide the necessary support to matriculants that are writing. And it's not just the final exams that are important. It's throughout the year that needs to have that constant support, that constant understanding for these learners. But also, I think there are a lot more societal pressures that learners face today. I mean, if you think about what they have to endure every single day. I mean, we've covered the water crisis extensively, and many learners saying, I can't go to school because we haven't had water for a whole week. So imagine wanting to go to school, but you can't because of the issue around water issues. And, the department is at pains to try and get the learners to school and to get them to these study camps to provide that necessary support. So there are many challenges, but at the end of the day, it's also about just trying to push through. Because if you look at it, Cindy, it's such a small part of your life, but it's such a big, important part of your life. So that's also why these study camps are so important. These schools are being identified, and that matriculants are just advised to push through a little bit longer. And I think there is some encouragement in the fact that we have not had load shedding for the past 3 days, and we're hoping, I know that there is a briefing tomorrow by the electricity minister, that he will give us even further good news about the fact that electricity will be further stabilized in terms of availability and demand, because that's always an issue. I've asked the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, about why schools are not being exempted when it comes to load shedding. And the argument always is that schools actually a lot of the time don't need electricity. When they write exams, it's in broad daylight. But that isn't the issue. It's, when kids go home and they need to study, and that always becomes a challenge, because how do you exempt all these areas? But hopefully, there won't be severe stages of load shedding, especially moving into the matric exam period.
Yeah, just another issue, obviously, that they have to deal with is just in terms of the pupil and teacher ratio and the working conditions of teachers. So I think to commend the teachers that work with the bare minimum that they have to ensure that the learners are as adequately equipped for the exams as possible.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how much time I have, but actually let me just try and bring in Steve Mabona, because he's just sitting here for a second, and maybe I can just quickly bring you in on that. Sorry, thanks, Steve. I know you were sitting in the shade, but let's just speak about that issue around teacher and learner ratio. I mean, there's a huge issue around how many learners are in a classroom. There are huge resource challenges, and I know the department is at pains. I mean, we must speak about the exceptional work that you are doing, but there are challenges, and we must speak about those challenges.
No, definitely. I mean, we have never at some point denied the fact that as Gauteng we are pressured when coming to capacity. we cannot be in a position to, most especially in the high pressure areas, to accommodate as per the ratio, which is something that we are seeing. And we know that to a certain extent, opposition parties will go and conduct what they call an oversight, go to a school where they know would have told them that we are overcrowded there, and show pictures and say the department must do something about it. But often at times we will ask them whose child must sit at home, because it's easy for people to say the school is overcrowded, we cannot have so many in a classroom. But if we were to ask whose child must be at home, so we find a situation whereby we try by all means to accommodate as much as possible. There was an issue at Noord-Geseg where classes were, declared not safe by the Department of Labor, and we managed to provide them with mobile units there. But before us doing that, there was a challenge, because we said with parents, can we reach a compromise? There's a school that we've identified not far from where you are. Interimly, can we take our children there while we are waiting for the mobile units to be, delivered? Because we knew that we had planned already to deliver those mobile units. Within a week, those mobile units were there. But they will say, no, because opposition came here and made the necessary noise, the department responded. No, it was in our plans, because opposition knows. They ask us questions, we respond to say, this is what we're going to be doing. Now they go there a week before you provide mobile units and say, department must move faster. And then when we deliver the mobile units, they say, no, they've listened to us, which is hogwash. We've been planning to provide mobile units at Noord-Geseg because we knew about the situation there. So we are working tirelessly to make sure that we accommodate as much as possible. But also, we expect parents to work with us. I mean, you can't say, interimly move to school A, and then you tell us reasons that are unacceptable to us, which we really don't want to go in public and say, what is it that they said? Because it will look like we are sparring with parents, and don't want to do that, because as education, we have a responsibility to provide education. And if parents complain, we need to come closer to them, listen, but also plead for their patience, and us working together with them.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for just giving us that quick answer. I just thought it was important, Cindy, given that I don't really, understand the severity of it. I mean, we report on these things, but I think it was just important to get the department's perspective on that issue.
Really appreciate it, Heidi Giokos, who is out in Tshwane, speaking to Steve Mabona, who is the Gauteng Basic Education Department's spokesperson, highlighting the challenges that the department faces and the interventions that they have then implemented. Where we are at the moment in Tshwane, as part of those interventions to assist the grade 12 or matriculants who are sitting for their final examinations, to try and prepare them as best as possible for this milestone in their lives.